So we're 6 episodes into the 100th final season at this point. Almost halfway through the season. We're past the 1/4 point anyway. So I think it's pretty far in that we can kind of get a good indication of where the rest of the season's going, or at least how we feel about the season so far. 6 episodes is more than enough to know whether you're into a season or you're not into a season. So I thought I'd kind of do one of these videos where I just kind of give my quick thoughts on what the season's doing so far, rather than review each episode individually. The 100 reinvents itself every season in a pretty great way. Like, I don't think any season is similar to any other season, and I think seasons 5, 6, and 7 have all been the most unique seasons we've gotten. Season 5 was completely different from anything from the first 4 seasons, but then season 6 was also completely different from anything we'd seen prior to that, and now season 7 is kind of the same. Some of the stuff we had in season 6 is still present this season, but as a whole this is completely different to anything we've seen so far. Because of how we had the anomaly now letting our characters go to different worlds and letting us maybe even go to different times, I was under the impression that this season would be a lot more crazier than it was, especially with the show, with this being the show's final outing. I for some reason thought, or at least I had the impression of the trailers and what they were talking about, that this season was going to have us revisit some of the themes from earlier seasons, or at least kind of make this feel like a final season. I didn't think they were going to go the Arrow Season 8 route or Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 7's route, where they really are visiting old characters and going back to different times that the show was reminiscent of, but I thought it would be more than this. I don't know if this feels like a final season, because they haven't done anything yet to really make this feel like a final season. Now, that's not to say the season's bad, but it's not what I would have wanted from a show's final season, at least so far. Now, maybe they'll change it up. We have 10 episodes left. Maybe they'll start changing it up then. But so far, I'm not crazy impressed with what they're doing. I'm still having things to like about it. 3 episodes into season 6, I was in it. 3 episodes into season 2, I was in it. So far with this season, I'm not getting the same hype levels that I wish I was, I guess. Indra is actually, surprisingly enough, a character that's getting a lot of development this season in a pretty great way. Most recent episode 6, had some of the best stuff we've seen from Indra in the entire show, maybe ever. Dioza is another character that has somehow become one of the best on the show. Episode 6, also with her trying to escape from the place, that was some of the best Dioza scenes we've had. Octavia, I'm not really sure how I feel about Octavia. I'm not hating what they're doing with her, but I feel pretty indifferent towards it. Echo, I'm actually really like what they're doing with Echo. I didn't like Echo at all between seasons like 2 to 4, but season 5, 6, and now 7 Echo is also one of the best characters on the show, so I'm really liking that. Bellamy is a hard one to talk about, because if you don't know, Bob Morley, he asked for time away from the season. We don't know why he asked for time away, but he had some stuff going on in his personal life that probably played a huge part in him asking to step away. So it's not his fault he's not in season. It's also not the writer's fault. They're doing the best they can. But because of the season, like, I know we can't really blame anyone in particular for Bellamy not being around, but I just feel like they're doing a pretty terrible job at giving a reason for why Bellamy's not around. Like, they could come up with something better than him having faked his death, or as everybody thinking he's dead. I'm not a huge fan of what they're doing. So far, we saw him in the first episode, which I'm fairly certain was just stuff from season 6, from the end of season 6 they took from. And then we saw him again in episode 4. It might have been, maybe it was episode 3, but I think it was the end of episode 4. We saw him for a couple seconds, which also feels like something that was filmed back towards the start of the season, because it felt so different to any other scene we'd had. And while that scene was great, I just really am not a fan of how Bellamy's being handled this season. I feel like they could do a better job at explaining why he's not here. I think Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. does a great job with Fitz every season. Their storyline at the start of season 5, when Fitz wasn't around, made it so much better when Fitz did show up. But so far, I feel like when Bellamy's going to show up again, I'll be like, okay, thank God he's back in the season, rather than, oh my God, how they explained this was great. So I'm kind of a little bit iffy on how they're handling that. Another thing that just isn't really working well for me is that we're still spending so much time on Russell and on the Primes, and the whole thing with Murphy and Amori pretending to be Primes, that's not too bad, but as a whole, I think that this should be a whole storyline that should have been left in season 6, or at the very least, it should have been left with the season 7 premiere. I think Russell should have been killed either in episode 2 or episode 3, and we should be far removed from that storyline now. moving on from all of this, especially since we know that Russell, he's kind of messing up with Gabriel's people now. He's trying to get involved in the politics. I do feel like that character and that whole storyline is needless now. It's something that is taking away time from the more interesting aspects of the season, which is the anomaly, which is seeing our group really get into a place where the show will end. Like, for example, with Indra's stuff, I really like that because that is definitely feels like it's moving towards a definitive ending for our group. It feels like the end of the season is going to be Indra in charge of the group and something like that. But Russell's storyline, I don't see how that can in any way play into the end game yet. Maybe it will, maybe it'll actually be very proud of what they do with it or very happy with what they do with it. But so far, I'm not digging that whole thing. Clarke and Raven haven't actually gotten too much to do. Raven's gotten a little bit to do, and what she's going to do is pretty good. I'm enjoying it. Clarke, on the other hand, actually, I've been pretty surprised on how little she's gone to do this season. It definitely feels like the focus is more on Murphy, Amori, Echo, Octavia, Dioza, Indra, and Raven, more so than her. Even Jordan's getting a lot more to do than I feel like Clarke is, or at least he has been in more of the later episodes, which I'm not against that. You know, that as the seasons have went on, the show has become much more of an ensemble show than focusing just on Clarke. But I guess for a final season, I'm a little surprised in that. But again, no problem with that. I like Clarke, but I don't feel like she needs to be the focus of the final season. But yeah, this is just kind of a quick video to give my thoughts on what I've been feeling about the season so far, mainly because I don't really, it's not that I don't want to do weekly reviews for the 100, but I'm already doing weekly reviews for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and it's kind of hard to do weekly reviews for 2 shows. But yeah, I've been kind of indifferent towards it. I'm not hating it, but I'm a little confused at a lot of their writing choices. But what do you think about the season so far? Are you enjoying it? Are you hating it? Do you feel pretty indifferent towards it as well? And if you enjoyed this video, please like, share, subscribe, and all of that. And I hope you have an awesome day.